Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of Café con Cas. My name is Cas, aka, well, not aka, my name's Cassandra, aka Cassandrita, Sasa, you know, I was just like loving the house. Once again, I must acknowledge the beauty that is behind me in the background. Today's color, I'm doing a little color therapy today. We go into this really vibrant purple, into this kind of like, I don't really know how it's going to translate, but it's kind of looking like a little earth tone, a little earthy tone. So we're doing like a little like amethyst style. Anyways, hi guys, welcome. Let's start today's episode with a little bit of humor. Girlfriend of mine was like, saw me when I was biking on the way to work, and she's like, hey, I love your hair. And I was like, thank you. And then she told me this. She said, I look like a plume bird, which I thought was hilarious. So if in case you guys didn't know, plume birds are tropical birds with a lot of feathers. So like I'm a little like bird thing today. So I want to do a little like self-deprecating humor, if you will. So, wow. So yeah, we're back. I'm really excited. My emotional check-in is going to be a little bit real because I'm feeling a little emotional. But I'm really excited for tonight's episode because I ran out of time last night. And again, you know, to everybody who watches me after the fact on YouTube, which I appreciate and thank you so much for. Sorry, I've been behind in a couple videos. As I had mentioned, I had some issues playing. Actually, my first episode, I played this, the Knocking Within from one of our local Cambridge artists who had this video on Vimeo, but YouTube was like, no, someone else owns the song. Whatever, that's here nor there. We are here today. So I'm really excited because as I have shared before, I am also a student, and I shared this show with my TF, which I was a little bit nervous about because I take classes at Harvard Extension School. And, you know, it's a little bit intense. You know, you're taking the heart over to Harvard, which I represent, so I feel comfortable with that. But we talked about emotional check-ins and words kind of getting around. So how was your weekend, guys? I hope your weekend was really great. If it wasn't, I hope you're honest about it and say that it sucks to people who you trust. So anyways, we're gonna go over to our emotional check-in. I'm really excited because tonight I'm trying the BeLive call-in option. So I sent a message over to someone being like, call in and say hi. So I don't know how it's gonna work. So I'm like really excited for that. Anyways, so we're gonna go over right here. We're at the dot cam, so I'm gonna actually switch out of picture-in-picture and take away my cell phone. And we're gonna do our emotional check-in tonight. So, I'm a little bit nervous about this emotional check-in because, as I said, I had shared it with someone. They really liked it as a tool, so I feel like, you know, everybody's watching now, which is awesome. What am I feeling? I'm going through a lot. I'm gonna throw in some emotions out there. I feel really happy. I'm always happy to be here. Some nights, especially when it was like in the dead of winter, it was really hard to ride my bike here, but I'm really, really, really happy to be here. I'm feeling hopeful. Feeling a little bit lonely. This is an emotion that I haven't like actually addressed on film. At the BeLive studio, and I was actually having a really beautiful conversation with one of the other volunteers here, and he said something really beautiful to me. And oh, hold on, we got a call. Hold on. Hello.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
Oh, hi. It worked. All right, guys. This is a really historical moment for Café con Cas, and in the honor of legacy and emotional check-ins, I have my mom on the phone. So let's like give it up for Mommy Julie. Hi, Mommy. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you very well, thank you.
Oh my gosh, welcome. So welcome to Café con Cas. I'm live right now, and I'm trying in this option, and actually you called at a perfect time. We're doing an emotional check-in. So, how are you feeling today? Would you like to share with the audience?
Yes, I am feeling, considering everything that has happened.
Yeah.
I am feeling very hopeful, very content.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I may take, if you may accompany me, because I actually, in regards to emotional check-in, I actually wanted some emotional support for the news that I'm about to share with you, which is very somber, and I wanted my mom to be here with me to kind of bear witness to this moment. And you know, I was checking lonely, and I was checking a bunch of, I was checking happy, which I'm happy to be here, but I'm also grieving. and grieving over the loss of my cousin. And America is also grieving the loss of other victims. My cousin was a wonderful person, and he unfortunately, before deciding to shoot himself, he shot several other people. And you may have heard of this news story. And in the spirit of emotional check-ins, I'm happy to be here on a safe platform. But as my mother just said, we're also grieving. And so I wanted to pull up a picture here now. And Mommy, thanks for standing by. I'm just pulling up if you wanted to share any words.
Grieve without fear.
What'd you say?
I continue to grieve without fear, seeking safe public spaces for women, for children.
Yeah.
Yes, in my community, advocating. Yes.
Yeah.
For safer communities.
Yeah.
Free of violence.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. I thank you, Mommy, for being here with me right now, because I'm just showing our audience, the picture that you took. And right before I came here, we had been waiting and we didn't really understand what was happening with the body. And I got a text message of that a funeral will be happening on Saturday. So I wanted to invite my mom in this moment, because it's been a really difficult time, even just to understand exactly what happened and what's going on, and also to have the response from other people that we may not understand.
We may never know.
We may never know.
We may never know what really happened. However, our hearts go out to all the victims, to America, and to our family who has also been victimized by these random acts of violence.
Yeah. I think, how are you, what are some of the ways that you've been, because we're grieving in multiple zip codes. How can you tell the audience a little bit, how are some of the ways that we have stayed connected through this? I mean, I think we've stayed really connected through purpose and mission, because as you've come to know me here at CCTV, every single show I start with emotional check-ins, and every single show I talk about the importance of knowing your emotions, and also, sharing healing in a public space, because you should, and if you need, reach out to those professional resources. But I think my mother and I, as she had mentioned, she has a huge commitment to public spaces, and I got my energy and spirit from somewhere. And Mommy, I'm really inspired by you, and I just wanted to share this.
It will be very easy to hide in fear.
Yeah.
It will be very easy to lock yourself and be down on yourself and not understand. The hard part is to really reach out and be out there, be present, be in touch with the elements, with fresh air, with the sunlight, with the greenery, with the trees, with seeing other people, seeing humanity moving and shaking and walking down the sidewalks, reaching out to those individuals who are capable of creating change in communities. Looking at the landlords of commercial and business spaces, looking at the pedestrians, the politicians, the women who are working so hard to build communities in the local churches, in the local businesses, who do not have the privilege that I have right now, walking, feeling protected, free, walking especially in historical downtown areas underneath beautiful waving American flags, which represent democracy and justice.
Yeah.
Today I was able to walk into some of the areas that have those veteran monuments and clean all the litter and honor the fallen heroes, but also honor the living ones and the survivors. It's so important to reach out. Yeah. And to also to break through the resistance of those who have no idea about the legacy that many men and women and all the blood that has been spilled for democracy and justice for this sacred shared land, that many people from multicultural communities have the privilege to share. It's important to educate It is not my job to do so, but utilizing my presence
Yeah.
and exerting my right to walk freely and proud and not be re-traumatized or re-victimized is very important to me. It helps in the healing process.
It's hard because I really wanted you here with me today. And I thank you so much for calling in. Cause I know, just to share with the audience some of the ways that like my mommy and Café con Gas happened because of her, just for the Café con Gas happened when my mother especially was waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get my butt to my temp job at Harvard to make something. And we had these cups of coffee. So it's interesting, like I'm sitting here talking with you, almost like imagining that I'm having like cafecito with you, because she and I have had a lot of dialogue about healing, and also, as she had mentioned, public spaces. And I know, Mommy, you are involved with the community by going to committee meetings and also advocating for, you know, my youngest brother. And I thank you for that. And
you're welcome.
I'm really inspired by you.
Wonderful meetings that talk about vision and development in a long-term arena. I'm talking about 5, maybe 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I am in the community now, and that is my focus.
No, we definitely, this has been a moment of tremendous grief for my family, and a tremendous, it's been emotional, and I'm doing this live, and I'm happy that you called in, Mommy Julie. And I pray together for a sense of purpose, and I pray that we get to do more episodes like this, and I pray that I use your inspiration in a way that honors you and honors my family. If you guys recall from a previous episode, I used a picture that Mommy had next to on Veterans Day. I did a Veterans Day special for people in the armed services. And our grandfather, Enrique Lopez, he also fought in a war. And we're incredibly devastated. And a really part of the difficulty of this grieving process is a combination of those moments where you feel incredibly devastated, but you feel incredibly connected to a non-violent life, which is something that I wanted to do, and something that my mother really, it's something that I inherited from my mother.
Yes.
So I don't know, Mommy. I'm probably going to play. What'd you say?
We must feel it's a very individual process, but we also must seek the advice and must seek the professionals who can help us not to dissociate, not to forget, but to face and walk the thing.
Yeah, I definitely have access. In my moments, one of the reasons why when we started the show, Mommy, I was talking like about 2 minutes before when we started the show, I had circle 3 emotions: happy, hopeful, and lonely. There was an emotion on my emotional check-in for grief. What'd you say?
There is always room for change.
Yeah.
There is always room for new. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to deal with violence. Yeah. Because the language, it lacks language.
Yeah.
It lacks language. Absolutely.
I think so. And I think that's something that I've tried to do. And I think that's something like in processing my emotions, I've had, happiness was walking into the studio and knowing that I have purpose, and knowing that this is how I can honor all of the victims of violence. And I don't know, I can't, I asked permission from like my support system. Can I also have laughter in the midst of grief? Like, may I also not feel guilty?
Absolutely, because we must
not feel guilty. Because there have been moments where I feel like shit. Oh, sorry. I am in the Northeast, the hotbed of intellectual capital. Judith Herman, who's one of the pioneers of trauma recovery, is right at Harvard. She does a